Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? My mic is now unmuted. Thank you, everybody. The Devils fall to the New York Islanders 3-2 in overtime. Matt Barzal just buried the game. What a crazy game it was. I mean, that was just a back and forth kind of effort for the Devils, who suffered their first loss at home, an overtime loss, obviously, so they still are able to squeak out a point from that one. But I can't talk about any of this until I know that we are live. So somebody let me know in the comment section below, and then I will proceed. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Speaking of the Devils. I'm your host, Ryan Novozinsky, joining you from my home studio right here in Ewing, New Jersey. I was supposed to make the game tonight. I mapped out my flight in order to make the game tonight, but I didn't end up making the game because of these awful flight delays that are going on in the country right now. Once again, Devils fall, but not for lack of trying. I mean, there were some ugly moments in that game, no doubt. But they steal a point, and I think that's what my biggest takeaway from the night is that this Devils team does not quit. This Devils team, even if they're down with 4.7 seconds to go, they're still pumping the opposing goalie with opportunities. They pulled their goalie, obviously. A guy in Shimon Nemitz. That always seems to step up when he has an improved role. He steps up in a big way there, tying the game again with 4.7 seconds to go. The Devils are able to get a point out of this one. Obviously, you would have wanted the 2 points out of it. You would have wanted to keep that home record, so strong, which it's been so strong early on here. Devils now 7-0-1 to start the season at home. But they'll take that as opposed to not getting any points tonight against an Islanders team that quite frankly has been scrappy to start the season. So um, no shame in getting in stealing a point away from that one. But let's dive into it, guys. Let's dive into it. I mean, we will start with just kind of breaking down like who scored everything tonight and how that all kind of went down. It's all started with Timo Meyer. Timo Meyer gets gets a nice little clean feed from Brat and Luke Hughes, and he rips one home one time from the slot, smooth. Um, he needs to be a mainstay on that first power play, doesn't he? Like I know that Keefe is always like he's going to rotate. That's fine, whatever. I feel like he needs to be a permanent fixture on there. Like make him one of the permanent guys at least, because his shot just had such a great element there. Um, Another guy who deserves a shout out tonight, just off the top here, before we dive into the questions, is Arseny Gritsuk. He had that nice little feed to I think it was Cody Glass. Yeah, Cody Glass. Um, he intercepted the puck behind the net, dished it to Glass from the end wall to the slot. Glass ripped one, but I think Glass also another guy who deserves a shout out. A guy who's not only affecting the game in the defensive end, but also in the offensive zone as well. Um, but Gritsuk made that all happen, and Sheldon Keefe clearly noticed that because he promoted him. He did something that we've been talking about on this show for weeks now, which is he promoted him to that first line with Jack and Pratt. We finally got our first look at that tonight. After from there, the Islanders tied it up. It was the Horvat goal. Bad turnover by Luke there. Bad turnover by Luke. He kind of like banged into a linesman there though. But it was near the red line. But either way, like I don't care what happened. That's a careless blind pass that you cannot make. Turn it over to Paul Mary, of course, who dished it to Horvat and was able to score on a mini breakaway there. So not great, not a great sequence there. They end up tying it. And you get to the third. That's when Grits was promoted to with Jack and Brat. Devils, kind of going back and forth for a little bit. Devils try to get through and break through, and had a lot of power play chances. I thought they actually had some good sequences on a power play too, but it just weren't able to bury those chances. You had the Palmieri goal there as well. Unfortunate bounce off of Dylan. And then, Nemec, as we mentioned, ties it with 4.7 seconds to go, and then Barzell buries it in overtime. The Devils are now, what are they? They're 12. Sorry, they are 11, 4-1 to start this season. But we all know why you guys are here. You are here to dive into your comments. So let's dive into those right now. Let's hear what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think of this game. Does it give you? Are there any concern? Is there any alarm bells ringing right now? I don't think there. I certainly don't think there should be. I think this is a team that again was able to steal a point tonight. in a circumstance that last year's team, quite frankly, would have crumbled under. I don't think last year's team is scratching and clawing and get a point out of that. Nico Heischer, I remember the last time I covered the Devils, he talked about the importance of banking these points early on. You get a point tonight, and that's pretty darn good. So let's go on, and we start here with the guy who's always seemingly at the beginning of the chats here, our friend Zach Chin. That could be a spirit crusher. We should have won by at least 3 goals, and to lose it in OT after the Nemitz goal is like a hot, wet blanket on a humid day. No, no bueno. Look, I think that maybe it's just me. I'm taking more of the glass half full approach here, and usually, I don't think that I'm necessarily like that all the time. I think this is a team that was able to kind of gut out a win here today. I understand that they did roll the Islanders a lot that game, and peppered them with a lot of chances. Not necessarily all of them were on net, and they got certainly their fair share of man advantage time. Um, but I don't know that this is. I think this Devils team is too mature for this to be a spirit crusher for them. I don't think you're going to necessarily see a cold streak after this. That's just me though. Um, I think this is more proof that this team just doesn't quit. Like you saw that against Colorado game when they're down 5-0 and they score 4 goals in a row, and obviously they end up losing that game 8-4. But you've seen in spurts that spirit a lot from this Devils team this year, where they are never really out of it. It seems. Nico says, "I am stunned." Um, yeah, I don't see why you wouldn't be. That was a crazy game. Devils have had a lot of crazy games lately. Obviously, with a lot of them going into overtime of late. But yeah, stunned is an interesting way to put it. Jeremy Proper says stole a point, 1 for 4 on the power play, not good. 1 goal until 1955. Uh, sure. And I'll say this though, like I think there was a lot to like on that power play. I think once you get Dougie back, you're gonna like to see, because he has that clapper that can just get through. I thought Luke was better tonight at wiring shots through traffic. That's something we've talked about in recent shows, and something that he has to improve on, no doubt. So that's improving, but nothing compares to that threat of Dougie Hamilton being on the power play. That's just not you don't have that threat there. So I think you're going to see the numbers dip there. Keep Timo on there. Keep once Dougie gets healthy, have him get back and have him start ripping those shots again. And maybe get Nemes some more time there as well. I don't know. Like, I mean, I like that shot from the point. I'll tell you that much. Let's move on. Tyler Seba. Luke really needs to simplify his game. He tries to be too cute, and it costs us more than it benefits. I would agree there. Look, I think that Luke is a very promising young player. But I think in the instance that you're talking about, when he tries to be, too cute, it's a lot of those times like he tries to get too creative at the blue line, and it ends up being a giveaway. I mean, you kind of see the same thing from Jack sometimes as well. Some of these Hughes brothers are just kind of giveaway machines sometimes. And that's you'll see that a lot with some of the best stars in the leagues, that they just turn the puck over a lot because they're handling the puck so much. That one errant pass, that was a blind pass from Luke, and I think that's way too risky. The any benefit is outweighed by the risks there. Is how I should word that. Um, Zach Chin again, the glass half empty. We didn't steal a point. We had a point stolen. Look, I understand the perspective there, and that's totally fine. Again, I just don't worry about this team kind of sitting on this loss. I mean, they've won 11 games this year. Like, I don't see this as a loss that'll be necessarily like super crushing to them. We'll see how they respond to it, but they're going to get a little more healthy here in the coming days, hopefully. We'll see what ends up happening. They still have Connor Brown to come back in the lineup. They still have Brett Pesce to come back in the lineup. Within all this should happen within the next handful of weeks. So I don't think that they're going to be thinking about this loss. I think that a lot of the team might view it as, yes, we dominated the team, advanced metrics wise and all game, eye test wise. We should, at some point, it should have been like 5-1 for this team, 4-1. You certainly should have had more goals than one. You should have had more than one goal entering that overtime. Entering 4.7 seconds to go in the game. But I just like the way that this team responds against an Islanders team who's quite frankly pretty scrappy. Again, to start the season here. Jeremy Proper again. Luke took the wrong path and left Barzy alone. Yeah, it sure did. Yeah, not great. And yeah, Cranman mentions it here too. Two defensive breakdowns lead to 2 goals, and they were 0 for 1 of the PK. I'll take the stolen point as we continue to wait until guys get healthy. That's the other thing. I mean, look, like again, we just mentioned it, but guys are going to continue to get healthy. This team already has 11 wins. They continue to win even with they continue to, rake up all these points even with all these guys injured. These are positive signs, people. These are positive signs. I understand that last year was kind of, painful. I understand that the previous year was even more painful. I am a lot more optimistic about this Devils team. Because of their start, right? And because of the way that they've kind of, grinded out some of these victories or grinded out getting some of these points this year. Yeah, obviously, this is the first point that they, managed to steal in overtime and stuff like that. But health is coming back. This team will be fine. It is not the end of the world. Jeremy Proper says, had no business winning that game. Sorokin is a wall. Yeah, he was awesome tonight. Let's run the nerd numbers, courtesy of our friends at Money Puck. Ilya Sorokin tonight. Oh my gosh, this is actually crazy. 3.06 saves above expected for Sorokin tonight. That was pretty ridiculous. Let's just check Markstrom's just for shits and gigs. I don't know if I can curse on here, but why not? Negative 0.88. So not, not an ideal night for Markstrom. But he certainly lost the goalie battle. Sorokin was unbelievable, and he's really like at his peak. He's awesome. Let's talk about that Cotter. That Cotter sequence. That was just a terrible, terrible interference penalty for Cotter to take. He's been bad this year. Paul Cotter has been bad this year. To the point where it's looking like when Dadonov eventually does get back, he's going to be the guy that draws out of the lineup, right? Costly penalty, hands New York the momentum. Bad sequence all around. Bad sequence all around. Especially after your team just failed to capitalize on their own power plays two times in a row, and then you just immediately give them. Not only do you immediately give them the penalty there, a costly one, a dumb one at that. Then they score with immediately into that power play. Like that just he handed the game to New York. Paul Cotter did. That's not good. That's not good. He's going. I mean, let's just say right now, I think that the odds-on favorite to be the scratch whenever Dadonov gets back is Paul Cotter, and for good reason. Let's face it. Lou from Peru says, how about Grits finally getting on a line with Brat and Jack? Awesome. We've been asking for that for weeks now, for almost a month now. Again, he had such an awesome game tonight. Let's just, try and remember all the little details he had. I mean, look, it was the interception again behind the puck behind the net, and then dished it to Cody Glass there to set him up with just an awesome chance from the slot, and Glass ripping it and just being all over the ice tonight, and in the past couple of games. There was, I think the release too. I mean, the puck really does just booms off of Gritsuk's stick. I mean, the release has been such a pleasant surprise, or not a pleasant surprise. That was the one thing that wasn't a surprise. Actually, his all around game has been a pleasant surprise. Gritsuk's shot is finally coming into its own. I think Keefe notices that, and that's when he sticks him on a line with Jack and Brad, because he's like, okay, these two are distributing the puck at such a ridiculous level this year. Let's see if this can heat up Gritsuk, who's already proven that his all-around game, he can, play with the big boys in the top six and not just be kind of a scoring merchant up there. He also has a decent 200-foot game. He's also a pretty gritty, grindy kind of guy that when he wants to be. He's bigger than we all thought he was going to be. Now he's getting rewarded by being in the top six. Let's see if he can turn it on scoring-wise as well. Killabush says Markstrom is buns. I was a big fan 3 years ago. Can't be cut down with a goalie that shows up once every 3 games. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. Fitz goes down with the expensive AARP goalie. Harsh stuff for my man Killabush there. He's been so inconsistent. I mean, look, you're riding high after that awesome Anaheim game he had a couple days ago, like last week, whenever they were on the West Coast. He's been ice cold since. Like this is e- every game except for once. I mean, he's had four good periods this year. I thought he was fine in relief against Columbus too, and then but even that period he got injured. Um, Jacob Markstrom, like Paul Cotter, needs to step up. He absolutely needs to step up. You just got paid the big bucks. You just got paid a heck of a lot of money for 2 years. And AAV is $6 million. You have a big no trade list. Make it worth it. Make it worth it. Because right now, the early results here early on have just been dreadful. So if you're getting paid that much per year, you need to be able to steal games. He did that against Anaheim, and that was it this year. Um, Good playoffs, solid overall career, no doubt. Great playoffs last year. You just got paid. Time to step up, man. Moving on. Luke with with two or three brain farts, says Jeremy Proper. Yeah, especially that giveaway that led to the Bo Horvath breakaway, or sorry, the you know tossed it right to Kyle Palmieri, who dishes it to Bo Horvat, and he's able to score on the breakaway. Yeah, and then I mean Jeremy Proper is going as far as to say Luke needs a seat. I don't know if I'd go that far quite yet. I actually thought up until that giveaway he had a pretty decent game. And again, he was wiring the puck through traffic a lot more efficiently than he had in games past. But some of those boneheaded mistakes have just been really noticeable this year. Um, Jeremy Proper again. D looked tired and slow tonight. It sure did. And look, we were all kind of waiting for this, right? They were due for a clunker at home. There's no doubt about that. I think this defense too, with all the injuries they had their welts on the West Coast turf. We all remember that. But the past couple of games, everything's looked pretty structurally sound, and the defense, in a lot of ways, even stole some games here and there in the past couple games. I thought they were due for kind of a stinker. They kind of had that tonight. Slow and tired is a good way to sum it up. Um, Jeremy Proper again. Markey is either amazing or dreadful. Yep. Going back to what Killabush said. Um, Look, you're paid $6 million. That is Vesna level goalie money, right? Play like a Vesna level goalie then. Gerald York says, get Luke off power play one. I'm so tired of his low percentage shots, including the one in OT. Once Dougie's back, that's going to be a lot better. I think Dougie should be the permanent quarterback, or power play one quarterback. Maybe give Nemitz a shot too. I mean, I think that you saw the slap shot he had the one timer he had from the blue line there. Great. Sorry, from the point there. Great, fine. Maybe give him a shot there because Luke, yeah, hasn't been the strongest start to the year for him. Another guy who just got paid as well. Jeremy Proper, always a former Devil, going to get a goal. Count on it. This is different kind of stat that I want to talk about, but how about, do you guys hear the end of that 32 Thoughts the other day where it said that the Devils are the team that has the most rookies like in their first game to score against that team? It's the Devils. Friedman mentioned that. So every fan is like, oh no, it's our team, it's our team. No, 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 it's actually the Devils. So Devils fans, you can say that it is your team. Jeremy Proper echoes something that I've been saying a lot tonight. Missing Dougie, yet I am. Yeah. Tyler Seba. One last note. I mean, he's just the clapper with Dougie, right? And I think his defensive game has actually been a lot better this year too. He's a little more physical this year. Fine tuning kind of his all around game. But certainly on that power play, that shot is such a threat. And the Devils are missing that right now. Tyler Seba, McEwen, a guy that we wanted to mention. I'm looking for an excuse to mention him. McEwen is so much better than McDermott. Yes, he's such a great fit. McEwen is the most consistent Devil this year because both games that he's been in, both games that he's played, have both been excellent. One of the best Devil skaters tonight. Really completely raised the floor of that fourth line that has been pretty brutal to start the season. Good forechecker, physical. Does a lot of the stuff that a good version of I guess like a Bastion at his peak, or like a Lazar at his peak, like guys like that should have been doing the past couple years. Like he's like a souped up Nathan Bastian and Lazar. So yeah, and the fact that you got him for Curtis McDermott, who was essentially a $1 million kind of albatross in the lineup, is really a good piece of business for Fitzgerald to get. McEwen has been a lot better than I thought he would be. I thought that was just you throw a guy to get you throw a punchy guy to get a punchy guy. But no, he's added a lot more to the table. Cranman, our friend Cranman85 asks, do you think injuries on D are hurting their ability to transition to breaking out and getting offense? Yeah, I mean, look, like a lot of the guys, like Pesci, while not the most offensive minded guy, it's just the pressure that is alleviated when he's on the ice to pick up some of that defensive responsibility. Really helps the offensive minded defenseman thrive. I think there's something to that. Devil's ability to transition and everything like that. Not having Dougie out there hurts as well. I think once you start getting some health back, things are the Devils are going to be a lot better position than they are now, and they're still winning games. That's good. But it's one of those things that with health things will definitely improve. Gerald York says, I hope Gritsuk starts next game on L1 and stays there. Everyone else got an extended look with Jack and Brad. They aren't easy to play with. Let the kid adjust. Again, I've been saying it for weeks. This is a guy that I think he's already playing a great all-around game. He can only unlock the only thing he needs to unlock, quite frankly, is that shot, which the release has been awesome. But once he starts potting some of those goals, and I think he'll be in the best opportunity to do so if he's playing with Jack and Brad. Watch out! I think that would just be a lethal line combination, just to get Gritsuk even hotter than he is right now. Husky Unchained, huge point. Thought it was over for us. Yeah, again, that's the perspective I'm taking too. My friend Husky, you were going to lose this game with 4.7 seconds to go, and then Shimon Nemitz got you right back in it. I think that you'll live with that. And just like here, Jeremy Proper says, 3 points in the bank, 4.7 seconds left, 100%. Alan Bendeal, we need some Adam Bendelay or Ben Bendelay. I'm so bad at this. We need more offense. We're a little snake bit. Someone's got to go in. And Luke is a little sloppy right now. He needs to chill and simplify, which is no problem. Yeah, there's no harm in wanting to simplify your game. I think that Luke is just a little too in his head at times, trying to be a little bit more too creative, like the previous commenter mentioned. I'm totally with you. I mean, look, and offensively as well too. Like that, team is snake bitten. You like seeing the goal from Timo, and that's great. But yeah, you'd like to see a little more offensive pop from this team. Rick Roma says, does Luke have any idea what he's doing out there? Excuse me, sorry. Guys, it was such a long travel day. I hate this government shutdown. So bad. It's so bad. The TSA and everything like that. Sorry, air traffic control. It was really brutal delays today. Rick Roma says, does Luke have any idea what he's doing out there? Horrible turnover on that first goal, and then an OT. He goes to Drouin, allowing Barzell to streak to the net. Yeah, look, we've talked about the turnover to death at this point. Blind pass, errant pass, really bad. Not great stuff. Not good stuff at all. The OT breakdown, needs to be highlighted as well. That's equally as ugly. Yeah, creeping towards there, trying to cheat a little bit. Not great. Noah says getting the point makes this loss hurt less. Why was the PP poo poo? Can't score on them all. Can't score them all, but man, it actually wasn't bad tonight. Just no results other than one. Again, I agree with you, Noah. I think they controlled possession time. I think they had a lot of good looks. I actually like the unit, the way it was constructed tonight. I think Timo needs to be a permanent fixture on that power play one, as mentioned before. You did everything but score the goals. Let's face it. And sometimes you were a little too sloppy. There was that one sequence too where it was like the breakdown. I think Bratt like swatted the puck away, and Markstrom gave Devils fans a heart attack. The broadcast was talking about how that was like a heart attack type sequence. So that's not good. Like a lot of some sloppiness like that. But all in all, I think that if you have good chances like this, you're going to get power play goals. But tonight was just particularly ugly. And I'll say this, it just all came at bad moments too, because you get those two calls in the third, and two great sequences for the Devils, two draw penalties kind of back to back there. First one was Nemitz. The second one I'm forgetting who drew the penalty. But it was, to not score there and then to give up the power play goal to New York after that just is not a good sequence all around. Zach Chin says, I'm so happy we have McEwen back, though. He's such a breath of fresh air on that fourth line. Guy was everywhere when he was on the ice. It was like playing a top. Yeah, exactly. A good zone entry guy, little offensive pop from him, good forechecker, decent back checker as well. I thought he was all over the freaking ice tonight. That was good. Parker Wright says, do you think the Devils grab Nemo's little brother, Nemito, with their most likely late first round pick coming this June? Good one. Will Nemitz still be on the team come June? Will they replace Nemitz with Nemitz? Would it be cruel for a team to trade away a player and then draft his brother? I don't know. It's an interesting thought, though. I don't see, if he's a good player. I certainly haven't done my draft analysis yet, but yeah. Let's see. And hopefully I'm not doing draft analysis early on this season. Hopefully the Devils can keep this going so that the streams stay active and things don't go into a cold spell. Let's see. Jeremy Proper, 11-4-1 Avs have 5 OT losses. That's pretty crazy. Rick Roma, I don't hate Luke, but for a guy that makes $9 million, he makes a ton of mistakes. He better have more than 40 points. He's not even on pace for 40 points right now. Agreed. Look, again, a guy that gets paid, you got to prove, especially when a lot of these defensemen are down, you have to prove why the Devils paid you. I know that they kind of paid based on potential, and that's fine. But make Tom Fitzgerald look smart early on by having a good start to the season, of which he just frankly has not. A lot of these careless mistakes, not putting up the point production that he's had in years past. Yeah, no, and especially if you're going to miss all the training camp too. This is an inexcusable start. Zach Chin, question of the day: if you could choose the Devil's goal song, what would it be? Oh, Zach, good question. I Let me get back to this one. Because I'm like, this is like on the spot and like my brain's kind of foggy today. Vincent Rosalie says, but I will remember this. I'm going to star this, Zach, so that I have that. Maybe that's the next stream thing that I'll answer. Vincent Rosalie says Cotter is a big body with nice hands, but he's okay. I agree. His hockey IQ is not the strongest. The penalty that he took late on that the Islanders were able to capitalize on. This is stuff that just proves why I think that he's going to be the one to draw out whenever Dadonov gets back. Jay Snow, the Devils 5-on-5 is starting to drop off. It sure is. Their analytics aren't pretty right now. I know the private models are a little better than the public ones, but overall analytically, it's not looking great. So you want to correct that. I think they had a lot of decent chances tonight. I think they certainly peppered Sorokin with a lot of shots and a lot of shot attempts, but not good. Damien says Devils first home L and Devils first home W coming at the same time. Annoying. I didn't see that the Rangers. Who did they even play tonight? That's pretty cursed, man. That's pretty cursed. That's not good. Zach Chin, 18-12-81 line is great though. I think that you want to see what that line can do once Connor Brown is back, which is kind of been weird, right? Like again, it's just one of those injuries that started to get better, and then he was back at practice, and then he wasn't. It's making me think, and I don't like to speculate on injuries or anything, and we work with what we have. It is an upper body injury. It's seemingly mysterious. His timeline is fluctuated here. Is this a concussion? I don't know, and I didn't even see the sequence and what led to the injury, but that's the one thing I'm wondering right now. And again, that is pure speculation. I have no idea, and I don't usually like speculating about injuries, but Is that what's going on with Connor Brown? It's just what I wonder. Um, but yeah, curious to see what happens with that line once he comes back. And maybe Gritzer just gets the bump up and you just slot him in right there. Maybe that's it. Jay Snow says the Devils are bottom half in the league in expected goals. I know they have injuries, but five scoring was an issue last year. Don't want to see that happen again. Yeah, especially the drop off after the New Year's last year. That was the downfall for the team, right? Yeah, gotta see the once the team gets back and being healthy. I think their 5-and-5 metrics will improve. During the win streak, it was great. During those early portions of the season, it was great. Yeah, but it's definitely taken a dip here, and you don't want to see it fall that dramatically by just having a few guys out here and there. Jay Snow says Luke needs to take a step. It's year 3. Not only is it year 3, it is year 3 plus. Um, you just got paid. Getting paid $9 million a year. It's time to step up, man. Mitch Kramer says this was not a clunker. Sorokin was clearly the star of the game. Yeah, again, I mentioned it before, but he saved like 3 goals above expected. That was crazy. It just made a lot of incredible saves tonight. He was a brick wall. So hats off, stick taps to him. Griffin Weiss says Bratt putting in no effort on the game-winning goal. I had to watch it again. I hate to sound like all coachy there, but yeah, I was more watching the Luke mess up there, but I have to see that. Vincent Rosalie, Luke just needs to eliminate the turnovers and it'll be fine. I largely agree, but the turnovers are pretty darn bad. Like it's like they're glaring, right? And it comes in a like it's so frustrating too. Like some of the times, again, it's just like the doing too much aspect of things that you don't want to see a player do. Jay Snow says Luke has been horrible in the PP. I think he's been bad. The This team misses Dougie. This team misses his shot. I wonder if we start to see Nemitz get a little more time in that unit as well. Gerald York says, I thought White looked good tonight. Yeah, no, decent game from him. I think just defensively all around, though, it just wasn't the best. Let's see. Jay Snow, his offensive games hasn't popped yet either. I'm going to assume you're talking about Luke. Yeah, needs to pick it up in that. Definitely in the ozone. Needs to pick it up there. And quit with the penalties as well, or not the penalties, the giveaways as well. Dougie also has just a way better IQ on the PP. Yeah, I probably referenced this before, but I remember vividly in that 23-24 season, when he goes down, that was like the start of the Devils' downfall that year. That was the year they fired Ruff. They sorely missed that Dougie Hamilton clapper on the PP. So it's being missed on early on here as well. Christopher Bjork, will you buy a green screen? Do you hate my background here? Look, the studio, it's still kind of a work in progress because the season kind of came quicker than we thought, and this whole thing got rolling quicker than we thought. But if you guys think that I need a green screen, if you guys would like to see a better backdrop, let me know in the comment section below. Look, you see a lot of this on YouTube sometimes. It's like, when you watch like a really successful YouTuber, like Giants Nation Show. Okay, good example. If you guys are a Giants fan, you'll know Bobby Skinner. You'll see like early on, his episodes look so much different than his episodes look so much different 5 years ago than they do right now. The show will grow. We will learn from our early mistakes. We're still in the infancy stages, and we will grow. But if you think I need a green screen, then maybe we do. Vincent Rosalie says, would you prefer Lamico or Glendening as the 4th line center? Glenn, I guess, but still trust Lamico. Just overall, I don't even think Lamico's been all that terrible. Nearly as terrible as a lot of Devils fans think. But I guess I would go with the experience in Glendening. Let's see. 1 second. Hold on. We just kind of froze here for a second. Jay Snow says, Novo, I know sometimes during the game they show these stats. Do you know how many goals the Devils have scored off the rush compared to off the cycle? I don't off the top of my head, Jay Snow. I'll try to find an answer. Again, I will star that comment and try to get an answer for you. Good question. Yeah, I don't know. MSG just has access to a lot more stats because they have full time stat guys to help out with that. But I will see. Gerald York says no. Not only is McEwen better than McDermott, he's a good fourth liner in general. Doesn't take much to be better than McDermott. I agree with that second point. But yeah, no, McEwen's been legitimately good. Like his 2 games that he's been in have been great. um, Jay Snow says Glendening gives you 0, 5, and 5, but is a good in the dot and PK. And look, the face off dot has been a huge struggle for the Devils this year, so I think they'll take that over Lamico, and keeping him be as a body on that penalty kill is good. I know Keith values him a lot there, so we'll see what ends up happening. Let's see. I'd like to see Yuho get a shot instead of Glendening just to see. Yeah, no, it's an interesting conversation. I just think that maybe they'll side with the experience right now. Just to see. Dubzilla says, "What a heartbreaker! The Rock had way too many Islanders fans there tonight. You always see that a little bit with some of these New York teams, but great game and lots of excitement. Again, wasn't there tonight. Wish I could have been there. Flight delays kind of screwed me over, but yeah." Let's see. All right, everybody. We are going to take like 2 more, and then we are going to wrap up. Um, Lord of the Dinner Ring says refs did everything they could to keep the Devils in the game, and they still lost. Oh, do we have an Islanders fan in the chat? There you go. Welcome, welcome, Lord of the Dinner Rings. Um, Dubzilla 47. Well, then we'll wrap it up. Huge mistake allowed the tie, but all in all, the defense played well. Yeah, just not as strong as their past few games. But I think all things considered, I think that the Devils have been okay in the defensive department. Again, all things considered, with all the injuries they have right now, you'll take the past few games, especially when you're down Brett Pesce and Dougie Hamilton. That is 2 losses that are hard to overcome. But that'll do it, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to Speaking of the Devils. Please be sure, like, subscribe, share the link, tell your friends, smash that subscribe button, destroy that subscribe button, and we can continue to do fun stuff and keep streaming. I will see you next game. And we will try to see what our interview plan is for this week. Try to get a fun guest on. I have another guest that I hope we can get on soon. Would be our biggest guest yet, and it would be really a lot of fun. But until then, I will see you guys soon. Bye bye.